There are around 500,000 trailer boat owners in Australia, so this is a very common event. These owners should have done a lot of things before they got to the launching stage, things that come under the headings of planning and preparation.
The satellite series of...
The weather forecast will have the biggest influence on our plans. We want the most up-to-date information, and for this stretch of coast, the recorded phone forecast is probably best. Once at sea, we can contact the rescue volunteers to get updates.
It's not a bad forecast, but they're predicting the wind might blow up this afternoon, so I think maybe we'll head down and hang around this area here a bit.
Right, just hang around in one of the bays there and sit down and have bites at lunch or whatever. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Good idea?
Yep.
Great.
Great trip. See you when you get home.
It's a good idea to remove all your gear from the boat each time you bring it home. It means you automatically check it before every trip. Regulations vary on what you must have on board. Check with your local marine authority. Whatever the regulations might say, it's the skipper's responsibility to put on board the special needs for the trip, which always includes water and plenty of fuel. If possible, make a trial start at home. A lot better to find problems there than at the ramp. And one of the most vital things of the lot, lodge your voyage plan with someone responsible.
We're going out again.
Yeah.
Here's our trip details.
Oh.
Should be back about 5, okay?
Great. Oh, well, enjoy yourself.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
See ya.
There is never enough ramp space, so prepare the boat well clear of the ramp.
Good day for fishing today, Travis. Oh, yeah. Check these bungs, mate.
Most important, the bung.
Bungs are in.
Get the motor ready for lowering.
And we'll grab that rope out the front.
Some trailers have submersible lights, while others you have to remove. Decide which side of the ramp to use. The upwind side gives us more control. Today, that means we need the rope on the starboard side or right-hand side. Tie it bow and stern so both ends of the boat can be controlled at once. Undoing the safety chain is the only job we leave for the ramp.
Okay, ready, Travis? Here it comes.
This is all the effort we should need if the trailer is properly set up and maintained. We move the boat down the jetty to give room for the next boat to launch. The whole operation tied up the ramp for only a few minutes. Problems in getting the boat off the trailer are mainly due to rollers which have stopped working or to side bunks which are jacked up too high. The side bunks are just to retain the boat, not to carry weight. These are too high. We should see room between the boat and the bunks when we lift the boat. We hold off while we decide which side of the boat to put alongside the jetty. Choosing the upwind jetty will make it easier to put the boat on the trailer. The upwind jetty is on our starboard side, so we put our rope ready there. By using one piece of rope secured at both ends, we can instantly stop both ends of the boat from being blown away. We get our wire ready to hook on now, rather than wasting time at the ramp. If we had any doubts about the ramp, if it's steep or slippery, we would put a stone behind the car wheels. Because we chose the upwind jetty, we can let the wind take our boat onto the trailer.
Just hold straight, keep the stern straight.
It's often better not to break the trailer's back when recovering. This ensures the rear roller stays in firm touch with the keel and helps locate the boat. We take the boat clear of the ramp before rigging for the road. It's always good to flush out the motor after using it in salt water, but especially if we're not going to use it again for a week or so.
Almost every time we leave a jetty, we go astern, because the tail does all the turning. Let's look at it in detail. While the motor's in neutral, we turn the wheel so the motor points in the direction we want the tail to go. Put the motor in reverse. Squeeze the button and move the lever firmly so we don't give the gears any time to grind together. More movement on the lever puts on throttle. The tail does all the turning and tows the bow away without dragging it along the jetty. Now we want to go forwards, so first we get into neutral. We open hand the lever until it clicks into neutral. We don't squeeze the button because we might accidentally go straight into forward gear. Squeeze the button and move the lever firmly into forwards. Tap on extra speed. To put your boat alongside the jetty, do your preparation first. This will ensure it's done with a minimum of fuss. Always approach into the wind and current. A look at moored boats will tell you what that is. They point into the result of wind and current. We know now which side will come alongside, so we get our fenders and rope ready on that side. We always approach the jetty at an angle. The angle gets steeper if wind or current are trying to push us off the jetty. We'll choose a spot on the jetty and aim towards it. Let's look at it again. We set a manoeuvring speed early and leave the throttle alone. We now start to turn the wheel to get the tail swinging. The swing is well developed now, so we put the motor into neutral, we turn the wheel towards the jetty, a few revs in reverse puts the boat alongside.
Thank you.
If we want to pick up a person from the water, the overriding consideration is not speed, it's to avoid injuring the person. Put yourself in their shoes. You wouldn't want to see a boat coming straight at you at 20 knots. Do it slowly and to a plan. The boat's affected by wind and the person isn't. Make your approach into the wind so you'll not be blown onto the person. Drop your speed and set a course to pass clear.
I'm going to throw you a rope and pull you to the back of the boat.
Get a throwing rope ready.
Okay, grab the rope.
The engine must be stopped when we're near the person.
That's it. Okay, I've got you. Keep hold of the red rope. Well done. Okay, coming around the back, there's a ladder on the other side of the boat. Thank you. Keep hold of the rope. That's it, well done. Welcome aboard. There you go. Come into the boat. Bit cold in there. Very.
Sometimes we have to manoeuvre in tight places like here, or we want to leave the jetty but are given little room by other boats. Here's the manoeuvre in detail. With the motor still in neutral, we turn the wheel towards the jetty. When we put it in forward gear, the tail will go the way the motor points, outwards. We just use squirts of power, into gear, then back to neutral. Now our tail is pointing outwards. We turn the wheel to point the motor in the direction we want to go astern, then select reverse. One of the best illustrations of our manoeuvring technique, and a test of our skill, is to turn short around in a confined space. We set our speed, pick our course and hold it with the minimum of wheel movement. We'll make our turn to starboard, so we will allow enough room for the tail to swing out to port. We wind on all the starboard wheel and keep wheel and throttle on until the swing develops. Then put into neutral. While in neutral, we turn the wheel the other way. The tail will keep on swinging as we select reverse. Once a new swing is developed, neutral, then turn the wheel ready for going ahead. We let our boat use all the available room before going into reverse. We let the swing develop, then put our lever to neutral. Wheel across the other way, and let the boat use all the space.
Most of the principles of manoeuvring a boat apply whatever the speed. To illustrate this, we'll take the boat through a slalom at about 20 knots.
As usual, we select our speed and get on track early, then hold the course with a minimum of wheel movement. We aim to just miss each buoy, then as it disappears under the shoulder, we turn towards it to swing the tail clear and line us up for the next buoy. The rules have stayed the same. The tail still does all the turning.
At whatever speed they are travelling, boats work more efficiently and safely and handle better if they are balanced or trimmed to suit speed and load. At low speeds, too much weight aft or forward causes extra drag and makes the boat steer poorly. It's much harder to hold straight. A well-trimmed boat feels right, and the easy way to get it right is to move weight around. At marginal planing speeds, just moving weight around can put on several knots. On many boats, we can change trim once the boat has a little speed on by moving the outboard leg as well as by moving weight. If the engine is trimmed in too far, the bow is forced down into the water, which affects speed and handling. With the engine trimmed too far out, the bow rides high and the stern digs in. Wings on the cavitation plate will exaggerate the effect of moving the leg, especially on a tail-heavy boat. When heading into the sea, trim to keep the bow down so that it cuts the waves cleanly. If the bow is trimmed too high, the waves will wedge up underneath the hull, causing uncomfortable pounding. With the waves behind you, a following sea, trim to keep the bow light to prevent it from burying in the wave troughs. This boat overtook a large boat's wake, just like overtaking a breaker. It starts to broach, but stays upright because it was properly trimmed to begin with.
A marine radio is one of the most useful and effective pieces of safety equipment you can buy. It's cheap when compared to the overall cost of a boat and is an excellent aid to safety. It should be mounted in a dry but accessible position. And the aerial must be properly mounted and tuned for the set.
South wind, over.
They're simple to operate. The basic control is on-off volume knob, channel selector and squelch. The squelch control is the most misunderstood function of all. Too much squelch will cut out all signals. It should be adjusted to just cut out the background noise. The set may contain up to 10 channels, with channel 88 being designated for emergency use. These handy stick-on labels are a useful reminder for other channel uses. When speaking, don't get too close to the mic, but hold it slightly to one side. Speak clearly and slowly, and end your message with over. Give the name of the station and call sign first, then your boat's name and call sign before sending your message.
South wind, this is VN60I, go ahead.
VN60I, this is South Wind. I wish to log in for a trip to Rottnest Island, please. Over.
Very good, South wind. Can you tell me how many people on board and how much fuel you're carrying? Over.
Romeo 60I, there is 2 people on board, and we have 100 litres of fuel. Over.
Thank you, Southwind. If you could give me a call when you get there. Have a nice day. Over.
Thank you, 60I. This is Southwind out.
There are many sea rescue groups operating around our coast. When departing, you should contact your nearest sea rescue group and supply information such as number of people on board, fuel carried, destinations, and expected time of return.
Whitford's 194.
It's most important to sign off when you do return. Failure to do so may result in a search being organised.
Over.
Southwind, this is VN60I, go ahead.
VN60I, this is Southwind. We'd like to log off for today. We've returned from Rottnest Island. Thank you very much for your coverage. Over.
Romeo Southwind, this is VN60I, standing by.
Romeo 60I, thanks again. This is Southwind out.
It's important to understand the correct radio procedures. Most people have heard of the word Mayday, which denotes a vessel in distress. Unfortunately, it gets wrongly used for everything from a flat battery to a cut finger.
VJ6LQ, over.
Whitford's, I have a small battery problem. I'm anchored 3 miles north of Bathurst Point. No urgency, but I'd appreciate a tow when you can manage it. Over.
Roger, will do. Stand by.
Mayday should only be used when the vessel itself is in immediate danger, therefore endangering the lives of all on board. For a simple breakdown, there is no urgency. But for injuries on board and situations likely to develop into danger, then you start your message by calling Pan-Pan.
Ocean Reef 170, over.
Ocean Reef 170, this is VJ6LQ, Whitford Sea Rescue. What is the emergency?
This will get an equally quick response as a Mayday call and takes precedence over all other radio messages except Mayday.
And we are drifting onto reef, over.
Would you have a bucket or something else you could throw over the side, attached to a rope to slow down your drift so you don't drift so fast onto the reef, over?
A vessel is only in distress when it is in grave and imminent danger. There are many internationally recognised distress signals, but here we'll look at those most applicable to small craft. This is a typical pack of short-range flares. The red flares are mainly for nighttime use and are visible for about 9 or 10 kilometres. The smoke signals are for daytime use only and are affected by wind. In good conditions, they can be seen for about 4 kilometres. If you intend going a long way offshore, the parachute distress rocket is an excellent means of attracting attention. The rocket rises to a height of 300 metres and releases a red flare which descends slowly by use of a small parachute. In good conditions, it can be seen up to 40 kilometres by night and 17 kilometres by day. For situations where other vessels are nearby, simply raising and lowering arms is a recognised distress signal. Another good method of attracting attention is by a flashing mirror. Perhaps the most effective piece of equipment for attracting attention is the EPIRB or distress beacon. When activated, the signal is detected by commercial aircraft and satellites, which can locate the position with great accuracy. If you see or hear a distress signal, you must acknowledge it if you can and make a note of the time and place. If you can assist, you must do so, but bear in mind your own abilities. You should not attempt a rescue if it is likely to put you in a similar situation.
I'm 3 miles northwest of Rottnest Island. My vessel is on fire and sinking fast. 3 people on board. Over.
Mayday. This is Sea Dog, Victor Lima Whiskey 2345. Sea Dog, Victor Lima Whiskey 2345. Sea Dog, Victor Lima Whiskey 2345. Receive your Mayday. Unfortunately unable to attend. I'm low on fuel, but I'll relay your message to the nearest coast station. Over.
Because our Mayday boat is out of range, you can assist by relaying the distress call by using the words Mayday Relay.
Romeo, Sea Dog standing by. Mayday Relay, Mayday Relay, Mayday Relay. This is Sea Dog Victor Lima Whiskey 2345, Victor Lima Whiskey 2345, Sea Dog Victor Lima Whiskey 2345. Mayday Scamp, Victor Mike 3806. 3 miles northwest of Rottnest Island, on fire. 3 persons on board, over.
Stay available until you are released.
Sea Dog, Sea Dog, Sea Dog. This is Whitford Sea Rescue VJ6LQ. Over.
Whitford Sea Rescue, VJ6LQ, this is Sea Dog, over.
Sea Dog, this is Whitford Sea Rescue. Thank you for standing by. Your assistance is no longer required, over.
Thank you, Whitford, this is Sea Dog, out.
The outboard motor is the universal choice for smaller powerboats and is also common on larger boats. Some owners prefer the stern drive unit, which combines the inboard engine with an outboard leg. It's most important to carry out a few basic checks before putting your boat in the water. Check there are no loose wires and everything is clean and lubricated. Many modern outboards have oil injection systems. Make sure you have enough oil and always carry spare oil with you. Check that the propeller's not bent or damaged. An out-of-balance propeller can damage your motor. Make sure the fuel line is firmly connected and there are no leaks. Steering gear should operate smoothly. It's a wise move to test run the engine, using muffs to provide cooling water. Never run the engine without cooling water, or you'll damage the water pump. With the stern drive engine, you must do the same sort of checks as with your car. Check the belts and hoses. Check for oil. And check the leads. Don't forget the propeller and steering gear. You're now ready to launch your boat and enjoy your day on the water. Now let's have a look at some items in more detail. The battery should be kept clean, topped up and well secured. Use a marine battery, not a standard car battery. These batteries have enclosed plates to resist vibration and pounding as the boat hits the waves. A standard car battery may be okay for a while, but when it packs up you could be a long way from the nearest garage. The choice of propeller is also critical to your boat's performance. Ideally, the propeller should allow the engine to achieve maximum revs on a wide open throttle. If the engine doesn't reach near maximum revs or over revs, see your marine dealer. Dealers should test the boat with you and make sure the correct propeller's fitted. Most propellers are alloy, but stainless steel props are available and can offer better performance, but at a price. If your motor won't start, here are some simple things to do before you call for help. Is the fuel in the tank? Is the air vent clear? Make sure there are no kinks in the fuel line. Check connections. Is the fuel bulb hard? Does the choke close fully? Check the battery terminals. Are they clean? If the battery is flat, most engines can be started using a cord around the flywheel. This method can be used on smaller outboards if the starter cord is broken. Check the spark plugs are clean and dry. Make sure the gap's not fouled. You should soon be on your way again.
Regardless of how well appointed your boat is, the deciding factor in your boating enjoyment is the weather. There are several sources for checking weather forecasts, and some have details especially for small craft.
Let's look at the chart.
The television has daily weather forecasts which cater for small craft, but these forecasts are several hours old.
Westerlies 12 to 18 knots, the seas only up to a metre.
There is recorded information available on the telephone which is updated at regular intervals. However, a call to your local sea rescue group will provide you with the latest information.
At 8 knots and Ocean Reef east at 7 knots.
The most important information a small craft operator needs to know is the wind direction and strength. The wind governs the state of the water. The stronger the wind, the larger the waves. There are pamphlets like this to help you judge how your boat will cope with waves. You will need to know how to read your chart and tell where the calmer areas are if you need to shelter. Breakers happen on the seaward side of places like this. Steer clear, especially if the forecast is for a big swell. If you do decide to spend some time in a sheltered bay, keep an eye on the outside conditions and don't leave it too late before venturing home. If you expect a rough trip back to the mainland, make sure all gear aboard is well secured.
Road traffic is governed by the Highway Code, but there are no roads on the water. However, rules do still apply. You must always travel at a safe speed and keep a good lookout. Many of the rules are common sense, or as we say, good seamanship. Stay clear of large ships which can't manoeuvre as easily as small craft and may be restricted to fairways or channels. The main rules of the road are when two powerboats are approaching head-on or nearly head-on, each boat must alter course to starboard and pass on each other's port side. When overtaking another boat, the one being passed has right of way, and you must always keep clear of that boat. When a boat is crossing your bow from starboard to port, that boat has right of way and you should keep clear, reduce speed or alter course to pass behind. In other words, give way to the boat on your right. When a boat is crossing your bow from port to starboard, you should maintain your course and speed as you have the right of way, but be ready for evasive action if the other boat fails to keep clear. In a narrow channel, keep to starboard, to the right. With sailing vessels, the boat with the wind on the starboard side has the right of way. If they have the wind on the same side, the upwind boat gives way to the downwind boat. Unless the sailing boat is overtaking, power always gives way to sail. This powerboat should have kept well clear of this sailing race. If you intend going out at night, then you must fit navigation lights to your boat. Small boats may have an all-round white light, a red port light, and a green starboard light. Powerboats less than 7 metres whose speed can't exceed 7 knots may show an all-round white light only. Sailing boats are only required to carry side lights and a stern light. If the boat is less than 20 metres, it may carry these lights and a combined lantern at the top of the mast. Rowing, and sailing boats of less than 7 metres that are not able to carry these lights, must have a torch to shine at other craft in sufficient time to prevent a collision. Check with your local marine authority regarding lighting requirements. Around busy harbours you might see many other lights and shapes carried by different vessels. If you don't understand these signals, then you should keep clear.
The chart is a very important part of your boating equipment. Local charts often have additional important boating information. Water depths are separated by contour lines and noted with different shades of blue. The darker the shade, the shallower the water. The numbers on the chart show the minimum depth you can expect to find. The height of tide must be added to these figures. You'll also find letters and symbols. For a more detailed explanation, you can refer to the book Symbols and Abbreviations. Distances on a chart are measured from the latitude scale at the side of the chart. Never use the bottom scale. Each minute equals 1 nautical mile. The minutes are divided into 10 segments, which are read off as decimals of a mile. Rocky areas are shown by small crosses. Some rocks break the surface while others remain just under the surface. Bear in mind that the amount of water over the top will vary considerably if there is a good swell running. Reefs are shown like this and will often cause breakers. Reefs which commonly have seas breaking over them show the symbol for breakers. Stay away from these areas. The breakers form on the seaward side of the reef. Be cautious when fishing in these areas. But if you do anchor inside a reef, always keep a close watch on the swells and be ready to shift.
Compass cards are divided into 360 degrees. The main directions or cardinal points are north, east, south and west. Directions on a chart always relate to true north. The compass is suitable for small craft and magnetic compasses and are subject to errors. The error due to the Earth's magnetism is called variation. The variation for different areas is noted within the compass rows on the chart. Note the outer circle represents true direction and the inner circle magnetic direction. Once the variation is applied to true north, the result is a magnetic direction. This is the direction a magnetic compass will point if there are no other influences affecting it. Be careful what you place near the compass. Any magnetic material will cause an additional error in the compass. Understanding compass work can be difficult, but you'll find many books on the subject in your local library or bookstore, or you could attend a recognised course.
One of the worst things that can happen at sea is a fire. Correct use of extinguishers can often prevent the loss of your boat. The most popular extinguisher for small craft is the dry chemical type. It's suitable for all types of fire and is compact and easy to install. You should check your state regulations regarding the carrying of fire extinguishers. Once they've been used, you must get them refilled, even if you've not used all the powder. A common cause of boat fires is failure to observe basic safety precautions while refuelling. The rules are no smoking, no extra people on board, no naked flames such as pilot lights on gas fridges. If possible, remove portable tanks from the boat for refuelling. The fuel hose must have contact with a filler spout to provide an electrical bond and avoid sparks due to static electricity. The gas escaping during filling will fall to the lowest point. In a powerboat, this may be the bilge. A gas detector will tell you if there's a dangerous mixture of gas present, but your nose will give you a good indication if you don't have a gas detector. The consequences of starting an inboard engine with gas in the bilge can be devastating. Here are some basic items you should carry on your boat, some of which are mandatory depending on your local marine authority. Most important is the life jacket. It must comply with a recognised standard. These life jackets or personal flotation devices are more expensive but easier to wear. Always try your jacket on before you buy. It must be tied very tightly to be effective. It's a good idea in choppy conditions to wear a jacket, and children should be encouraged to wear life jackets at all times. The body loses heat much faster in water than in air, so try to get as far out of the water as possible. The major heat loss areas are the head, neck, underarms and groin. If you have nothing to climb on, keep your legs together and arms tight to your sides. A group of people can huddle together to reduce heat loss. Extra clothing will slow down heat loss, and the life jacket will keep you afloat. Avoid swimming unless it is only a very short distance. It will accelerate heat loss. Always carry fresh water on board in plastic containers. If partially filled, they will float if the boat capsizes. Exposure to the elements can be very harmful. Always protect yourself from the sun.
The system of voyage is designed to help you navigate safely in the river, channels, or around reefs. The lateral marks have both a distinct colour and shape. The port mark is red and can-shaped. It could be on a pole called a beacon or a buoy. If it has a light, it flashes red. The starboard mark is green and conical and may also be a beacon or a buoy. If it has a light, it flashes green. When travelling upriver or into a port, leave the port marks on the left and the starboard marks on the right. Going downriver, reverse the process. So when going downriver, you must leave them on the other side of your boat. The cardinal system of voyage uses the 4 main points of the compass called cardinal points as references. All the cones are black and the poles are yellow and black. Notice the relationship between the points of the cones and the black part of the pole. The north mark has 2 cones pointing to the top. The black segment of the pole is also at the top. The south mark has 2 cones pointing to the bottom. The black segment of the pole is at the bottom. The east mark has 2 cones pointing to top and bottom. The black segment is at the top and bottom. The west mark has 2 cones with apex points together. The black part of the pole is in the middle. If they have lights, they're all quick flashing. The number of flashes can be remembered by thinking of the clock face. North, or 12 o'clock, has a continuous quick flashing white light. East, or 3 o'clock, has a group of 3 quick flashes. South, or 6 o'clock, has a group of 6 quick flashes followed by 1 long flash. This long flash helps to distinguish it from the west mark, or 9 o'clock, which has a group of 9 quick flashes. They can be used to outline a reef or to mark a channel. Another buoy you may see is a safe watermark. This has red and white vertical stripes with a red sphere on top. It may be a beacon or a pillar buoy. Check your chart for the light flashing sequence because it has many different types of light characteristics, although the light is always white. The isolated danger mark is placed over wrecks or small reefs or rocks and must be given a wide berth. It can be a beacon or a pillar buoy, and if it has a light, it's a group of 2 white flashes. These are special markers, and you must consult your chart if you see them, as they can be used for a number of things, from replacing a lost buoy to marking a dumping ground. They're all yellow, they might have a cross, and they have a yellow flashing light. They can also take the shapes of all the other recognised marks. Leading marks are beacons or landmarks which guide you safely into an anchorage or down a channel. Many of these bays have leading marks showing safe entry. The marks are brightly painted and shaped so that when the apexes are together, you know you're on the right track. More important leading marks have lights.
We don't pretend to have told you everything about powerboating, and a lot of the fun of it's finding out something new each time you go out. What we hope we've done is to show you some ways of making your time on the water safer, simpler, and giving you some skills that you can practice that'll make you a lot more confident. Keep on learning and enjoy your boating.